Hey there, vinyl community. I'm doing a video today in celebration of another Michael over at Noted and Archived, who has reached 500 subs on his channel, although looking at the numbers, he might reach 1,000 soon. So congratulations, Michael. Your videos have been incredible and you definitely deserve the subs. So Michael did a contest video where he wants all of us to submit video entries for a subscriber contest. And so he had a list of questions for us, so I'm going to be going through those. The first contest question Michael had was to name an album that was either an unexpected discovery or a blind buy. And so I have one for that. So when I was living in New York City, this was I think 2014, I was about 21, and I went to Singer Audio, Sound by Singer on, I think it's in the Upper East Side, and I wanted to go hear the Focal Aria series speakers. I'd never heard those before. I set up a demo to go listen to those, and one of the salespeople at Sound by Singer was helping me out, and we were talking music. And this was when I was getting into prog rock, so we were talking about music, and he was into stuff like Yes and Deep Purple, and so we were talking about that, and he really suggested. He asked if I'd ever listened to Uriah Heep, and I said, no, I've never heard of them. And he told me I absolutely have to go listen to Uriah Heep. I got to go listen to the album Demons and Wizards. Well, so I took the train back. I was living in Morningside Heights at the time. I was living up at 122nd Street, just south of Harlem. And, it was a nice day out, so, I'd either get off at 125th Street or I'd get off at 116th Street. It was a nice day. I wanted to take a walk by Columbia, so I got off at 116th Street, and outside of Columbia, at least when I was living there was always this guy right outside the gates of Columbia selling records on the curb. And, he had, a lot of it was better than dollar bin records, but it was a lot of big normal stuff you'd see in a record shop, The Police, Blondie, stuff like that. Nothing too rare. But I was flipping through the bin, and I happened to see Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards. And so I'd never listened to it before, but the guy had just told me about this record, and it was $10, and so I took it home with me. This is not that copy. That was a US copy. This is an original UK copy I picked up a couple years later. But yeah, so I bought this having never heard of it before until that one event, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I've since gone on to appreciate Uriah Heep and listen to many other Uriah Heep albums. But I think Demons and Wizards is their best work, and this is one I continue to listen to and enjoy to this day. For the second question, Michael asked us to show two albums that exhibit great polarity, two very, very different albums, maybe featuring different genres or different styles. And I think that's something that anyone who watches my channel knows will be very easy for me to do. So for the first record, I picked one of the heaviest albums that I have in my collection. This is a 2016 album by the hardcore power violence, grindcore, metalcore band Nails, You Will Never Be One of Us. This is an absolutely pummeling, brutal album, one of the heaviest I've ever listened to. I saw Nails tour on this record. They came and played Austin, and it was one of the loudest shows I've ever been to. I think they played, it used to be Red 7, but I don't think it was Red 7 at that time. Anyway, really, really enjoyable, unique hardcore band that kind of has their own sound. Lots of bands do brutally heavy music. Very few bands do it in an interesting and new, fresh way, and I think Nails definitely do that. So if you like any type of heavy music, definitely check out Nails, You Will Never Be One of Us. To contrast that pick, I grabbed one of the most beautiful and sublime albums in my collection. This is a 1958 original London Decca blueback of highlights from Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. This is a very special recording, so it is London blueback with the Deep Groove for Edition 1 label. So it sounds very, very nice, but it's also a very unique performance. Even though this was released in '58, this was recorded in, I believe, 1955, 1 year before the conductor on this recording, Eric Kleiber, passed away. If you don't know who Eric Kleiber is, he's one of the greatest European conductors of the first half of the 20th century. He is very well known for being one of the first people to get out of there when the Nazis took power. I mean, he left almost immediately, I think, and went into exile. He's also very well known for being the father of another well-known European conductor, Carlos Kleiber, who probably has the definitive Beethoven recordings that are out there. This is an absolutely gorgeous recording, and you know me, I like the highlights records, and this one does it for me. I think Mozart's best music is, of course, his operas and his piano music. That's the music of his that I connect with the most, and so if I want to listen to Mozart, I'm going to grab one of his operas, definitely. For the third question, Michael wanted us to grab an album that's kind of an embarrassing album that we own, or an album that's a guilty pleasure for us. And, you know, I think I used to have a lot more records when I was younger that I considered guilty pleasures, and as I got older, I just kind of stopped caring, and the pleasures stopped being guilty to me. I remember, you know, I want to say even like 5 years ago, some of the music that I listened to when I was younger, I kind of, you know, I still enjoyed, but I kind of was embarrassed to admit that I enjoyed it, and now I don't really give a shit. But there is still some music that I do consider a guilty pleasure, and I do consider kind of silly and ridiculous that I will listen to and enjoy anyway. And the one that came to mind, I think, for this video is the fourth album by the Japanese Gothic romantic visual kei band Moi di Moi, Dianadu. This is for those that don't know this band, this is a band that was started by one of the members from the very, very famous Japanese band Malice Mizer. Malice Mizer, of course, are the band that kind of started Gackt's career, and Gackt is one of the biggest pop stars in Japan. If you follow Japanese music at all, I mean, Gackt is pretty much like Bono in Japan at this point. But Moi di Moi was the solo project of the guitarist for Malice Mizer, Mana. And this was kind of just this is him at his most creatively indulgent. This is a very moody Gothic, I mean, we're talking like Castlevania, the video game moody Gothic with like organs and keyboards and very like Baroque style melodies infused with this kind of metal and industrial music. It's really interesting and very unique, but it's incredibly campy, and they got the outfits and the hair and the makeup, and it's quite a sight to kind of take in. It's kind of a sensory overload. And yeah, the music is kind of campy, the theme is campy, the theatrics of it all are campy, but it's just kind of cool. And I still like it, and I still listen to it. This is the only album they've ever had released on vinyl, the only full-length album by them that's ever been released on vinyl, and it wasn't actually released by their label in Japan. This was released by some label in Germany that put out like 500 of these for European fans. So I thought that was kind of cool. So yes, this is I guess, one of my guilty pleasures. I have many more, but... The next question was a difficult one for me. This is this fourth question to show our most listened to album in our collection. And that's a hard question for me because, you know, the albums I listen to the most do rotate, you know, depending on what year and just what's in my stack and my rotation. But I kind of took it to mean the album we listen to the most, you know, maybe since we started even listening to music or collecting music. And one that I just come back to time and time again since I first heard it when I was 15 is Circa Survive's debut album, Juturna. This is just such a well-crafted, energetic, brilliant album by Circa Survive, who have really never released a bad album. I mean, Circa Survive are a band that really don't have any duds in their catalog. And this is also a band that I've seen live probably more than any other group. I think I've seen Circa Survive play maybe like, I want to say 8 times now. I first saw them play when I was 17 at South by Southwest in, 2010, I think, spring of 2010. And I saw them a bunch after that. I've seen them almost every year they've gone on tour. So, and to me, this is still the album that I attach to the most. Anthony Green's vocals on this are just so youthful, and Anthony Green is just an incredibly charismatic frontman. The guitar melodies on this are beautiful, and it really kind of captures what can happen if you take, you know, a lot of the elements of like post-hardcore and pop-punk that were happening in the mid-2000s and kind of open them up to be a little more melodic, a little more experimental, a little more spacey, add a little bit more guitar effects in there, add a little bit more room for the reverb. And you get something really special, and I think Circa Survive have kind of nailed and mastered that sound on this album. For the final question, Michael wanted us to talk about, some of the first vinyl community VC videos and channels we saw on YouTube. And, I don't remember for sure, but I know two of the channels that were some of the first that I watched that definitely made me want to consider starting to make videos. And this was, I think I started watching these videos at the end of 2015, and I started making my first videos at the beginning of 2016. And I think it was definitely Ron Budry at Rockin' Ronnie. He's still making videos. He did a lot of cool pressing comparisons, talking about different pressings, which was really kind of a part of this that appealed to me, and talking about sound quality. So his channel's great, go check him out. And then also Paul Baraka P-Dub is another one that I think there's so many VC creators, I think, that got inspired by watching Paul's videos. He was kind of one of the first people talking about the Music Matters pressings, that he got everyone on that bandwagon. He talks about sound and pressing a lot. He also does deep dives into engineers, and he's into so many different genres, and he really does a very thorough job with all his videos. They're well researched. They're way higher production value than I would ever put into mine. So most of you know Paul, but of course check out his channel as well. So those were the two that really got me excited about what this community could be and got me making videos. So Michael, once again, congratulations on the 500 subs, and you deserve it because your channel is really great, and the Four Corners stuff you've been doing has just been incredible. Speaking of contests, I looked at my numbers recently, and I'm probably gonna have to do a contest pretty soon. Because I think I'm over 5,000 subs now, so I should probably do a contest video, so that's probably going to be the next video you're going to see uploaded. So look for that. I'll announce it pretty soon, I think. And yeah, cheers. Until next time, VC.